Hare Krishna everyone. Today we are reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, entitled The Opulence of the Absolute. Text 18. Vistarinenatmano yogam, vistarinenatmano yogam, vibhutim cha janardana, bhuya kataya triptihi, Shrinvato nasti me amritam. Word to word meaning. Vistarina, in detail. Atmanaha, your. Yogam, mystic power. Vibhutim, opulences. Cha, also. Janardana, O killer of the atheist. Bhuyaha, again. Kataya, describe. Triptihi, satisfaction. He, certainly. Shrinvata, hearing. Na asti, there is not. Me, my. Amritam, nectar. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. O Janardana, again please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. I am never satiated in hearing about you, for the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. Purport. A similar statement was made to Sutta Goswami by the rishis of the Naimisharanya, headed by Saunaka. That statement is, Vayam tuna viprapayama uttama shloka vikrame yakshrinvatam rasagnanam swadu swadu pade pade. One can never be satiated even though one continuously hears the transcendental pastimes of Krishna, who is glorified by excellent prayers. Those who have entered into a transcendental relationship with Krishna relish at every step the descriptions of the pastimes of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.19. Thus Arjuna is interested in hearing about Krishna, and specifically how he remains as all-pervading Supreme Lord. Now, as far as Amritam nectar is concerned, any narration or statement concerning Krishna is just like nectar, and this nectar can be perceived by practical experience. Modern stories, fiction, and histories are different from the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, in that one will tire of hearing mundane stories, but one never tires of hearing about Krishna. It is for this reason only that the history of the whole universe is replete with references to the pastimes of the incarnations of Godhead. The Puranas are histories of bygone ages that relate the pastimes of various incarnations of the Lord. In this way, the reading matter remains forever fresh despite repeated readings. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Shri Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanustute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you for assembling today to study Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10 and shloka 18. Before I begin, I want to share one of my shortcomings. When I was studying in Mayapur, my Bhakti Shastri, my teacher asked a question, what was your experience when you were reading Bhagavad Gita for the first time? So they were going in the room, and one of the Vaishnavis, she's from China. So she said that first time I was reading Bhagavad Gita and I was actually crying. She was having tears in her eyes and she was crying. Then I was thinking, did I ever have such an experience? Indeed, I don't have such an experience, but of the worst, I was reading Bhagavad Gita, this chapter, and I was thinking that why is Krishna boosting himself? You know, when he was telling that I am the best of this, I am the best of this. So I was thinking that why is Krishna boosting himself? So I was recalling when I was studying for this particular shloka that I am filled with pride and envy, so I don't have any qualification, but I aspire to become a devotee, so I'm making this humble attempt to share my learning. So all of you, please give me your blessings so that whatever we speak, it will be useful to you and for me, and it will be a service to Srila Prabhupada. So in this particular shloka, there are many things that can be analyzed and understood. First thing that caught my attention is how Srila Prabhupada translated the word Janardana. He says, "O killer of the atheist." But when we see the same word used by Arjuna in the first chapter, in text between 32 to 35, first chapter of 32 to 35, he uses Janardana, and then Prabhupada there, he translates as a maintainer of all living entities. But here Prabhupada's translation is different. O killer of the atheist. It is also to describe what is the difference between an atheist and a theist. Theist is someone who understands God, who tries to know God, and who worships the God by knowing Him. But atheist is the one who actually, he does not know God and he defies the God. So by learning this chapter, we also kill the atheistic mentality that we have and we progress towards Krishna. And here Arjuna is saying, I want to know your Vibhutim. This chapter is also known as Vibhuti Yogam because there are so many opulences of Krishna that has been described. So Arjuna is putting a request before Krishna saying that I want to know about your opulences. And what is the hidden reason? He is saying that I'm never satiated hearing about you. And I will never get such a chance to hear about you directly from you. The more I hear, the more nectar I'm feeling. He's saying it's amritam. The more I'm hearing, that is actually the nectar that I'm experiencing. And in this chapter, we just see how the chapter is flowing. This is from shloka 1 to 7. So knowing about Krishna is unknowable. He's the source of all. And then from 8 to 11, pure bhakti, the essence of the whole Bhagavad Gita is explained. This is the Chatushloki, is explained here between 8 to 11, where Krishna says that he is the source of material and spiritual world. And wise people worship him and they are always absorbed in his discussions. Krishna also says that he actually gives the intelligence from within, and he also mercifully destroys the ignorance that is stopping anyone to know about him.
You can speak in the mic.
I am not. Sorry. Now? Thank you. And from Shloka 12 to 18, Arjuna accepts Krishna's supreme position. Thus we have been seeing his Krishna's position, and he's saying that I am not accepting because you are my friend or you're my cousin, but I'm accepting because all the great authorities have accepted you, and coming in that line of hearing from that parampara, I am also accepting you. So he establishes Krishna's position through the parampara. This is actually a qualification of a bona fide devotee, that establishing Krishna in the parampara system. And from text 19 to 42 to the end of the chapter, Krishna actually describes his vibhutis. So this particular shloka is actually a bridging between what is Arjuna's describing Krishna's position and how Krishna will be establishing his position. And in Surrender Unto Me, there is a nice quote from Burujan Prabhu. He has taken from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He says, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes an objection that could be raised by Krishna. Krishna says, but haven't I already said all these things are my opulent expansions in my statement, that I am source of all things? And haven't I already described devotional service in my words? Understanding this, the wise worship me. So for that question, Arjuna responds in this verse, saying that, beginning Vistharena, O Janardana, with the sweet nectar of your instructions, you are generating in me a greed to hear, and thus agitating and impelling me to beg for more. What else then can I do but beg? While imbibing the nectar of Krishna's instructions, Arjuna's ears are acquiring the ability to taste as if they were tongues. Krishna now describes his opulences, which he will continue to do for the remainder of the chapter. So it is very nice to see from the Acharya's commentaries, because they actually create that dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna that's flowing. And here Arjuna is showing his personality, that how he's not just interested in Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, but he's actually interested everything that is related to Krishna. And how he's expressing in the previous shloka that, I want to constantly think about you. And I am a material man. I am engaged in the materialistic affairs. For me to constantly think about pastimes of Vrindavan may or may not be possible. But I want to think of you and appreciate your presence in this material world. And in the previous shloka, Prabhupada also points that Arjuna wants to benefit a common man. So he is taking the position of a common man, and he's saying that a common man usually doesn't have love for Krishna unless and until he is actually a devotee. So how can a common man can appreciate Krishna? So he is actually helping the demons and the atheists to see Krishna in the material world. And we see in the Chatur Shloka of the Bhagavatam 2.9.34, Ritte artham yat pratiyate na pratiyate chatmani tad vidyate atmanomayam yat bhaso yathatama. So Krishna is addressing Brahma, saying, O Brahma, whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, has no reality. Know it is as my illusionary energy, that reflection which appears to be in darkness. To explain, Prabhupada explains in the purport, whenever things are accepted as real but without any relation to Krishna, that is considered as illusion. But the same things, if you put in relation to Krishna, that has meaning, that has the actual value. Because Krishna declares, right, he is the source of both spiritual and material energies. So Prabhupada also makes an important point here, that any scientific studies in relation to the cosmic manifestation, that is, or the bodily construction of the Supreme Lord, are different reflective intellectual gymnastics. But at the end, they're all illusion and nothing more. Because these scientists, they don't know how to connect everything with Krishna. But we see Arjuna. Arjuna is observing everything that is existing in the material world, but he is intelligent man because he is relating everything to Krishna. He is saying, you explain me about the vibhutis because those are yours and I want to learn that from you. So this is the sign of intelligence. And he is saying, how is his intelligence has been protected? He is saying because he heard it from the parampara that how Krishna is the Supreme Lord. That we see in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, 12 to 13. And he says that you please explain me all this in detail. And this is one part of the shloka, how Arjuna is telling about, explain me about the vibhutis. Now he is also going to reveal, he has revealed his mood as being a devotee. So Prabhupada says in the Krishna book, chapter 13, that what is the nature of the devotee? A nature of a devotee is that he constantly applies his mind, energy, words, ear, in everything, in hearing and chanting about Krishna. And this is Krishna consciousness. And one who is wrapped in chanting and hearing about Krishna, the subject matter never becomes hackneyed or old. This is the significance of the transcendental subject matter. Why? Because it is of a dynamic nature, whereas the matter is static. At one time it becomes old and dry and we are tired about hearing the mundane topics. And it can never remain fresh, whereas the transcendental topics, they remain fresh. And that's why even it is being repeated several times. Prabhupada says in one of the purports in the Bhagavatam says that even someone is repeating the same topic again and again, someone can have a fresh light and learn about it because these are of a dynamic nature. These are of a transcendental nature. And another aspect of Arjuna that has been displayed, that how he has been learning in the association of these devotees. So Bhagavatam glorifies the association of devotees, hearing in the association of devotees. Satam prasanga mama virya samvido bhavanti hrit karna rasayana kata tajjoshana dasi apavarga vartamani shraddha ratir bhaktir anu pramishyati. What happens in the association of pure devotees? In association of pure devotees, discussion of pastimes and activities of Supreme Personality of Godhead takes place. And what happens by doing so? They please and satisfy both ear and the heart. And by cultivating such knowledge, one actually becomes advanced on the path of the bhakti. And thereafter he becomes freed from all material contamination and his attraction to Krishna is fixed up. Then by having all these attributes, one's real devotion and devotional service begins. So in association of the devotees, even here we are associating with Arjuna. And here we are listening in the association of the devotees. That's why the transcendental subject matter is becoming clearer to us. That's why it is able to clear the atheistic mentality if we have anything towards Krishna or Krishna Katha. And if we don't hear this Krishna Katha in the association of devotees, what happens? We cannot make advancement and we cannot understand Lord as a supreme person. We can just understand him just in an impersonalistic way. We don't understand him how he is the Supreme Lord and he is the absolute truth. And we think that whatever Krishna is performing all these activities as mundane stories or fiction. That's what is happening with many people outside there. They don't understand that Krishna, they think that this is a mythological descriptions of Krishna. Why? Because they don't hear in the association of the devotees. So we will discuss also why should one hear Krishna Katha, and then the glories of Krishna Katha a little bit. So what is Krishna Katha? Krishna Katha means any narrations that is related to Krishna. It can be spoken by Krishna, which is the Bhagavad Gita, or it can be about Krishna, which is in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, when one hears about Krishna Katha, it removes all the pangs of material existing that is conditioning the jiva. So some people may be thinking that only Canto 10, which is elaborately explaining pastimes of Krishna, is Krishna Katha. But Prabhupada makes a very clear point. The whole Bhagavatam, the 12 cantos, everywhere it is Krishna Katha. And even here, Prabhupada, even in this shloka, he brings out the same point. The Puranas are the histories of the bygone ages that relates the pastimes of various incarnations of the Lord. Any incarnation about the Lord is also the Krishna Katha. And Bhagavatam glorifies the hearing about Krishna Katha. How does Krishna react to such people when someone hears Krishna Katha? Shrinvatam swakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana hridayanantosto hi abhadrani vinudoti shrutsatam. So we no need to do any work. Our work is just to hear. But what happens if someone develops this urge to hear about Krishna? Krishna takes personal charge. He personally takes charge to cleanse all the material desires that's contaminating one's heart. And also, how should be, what is the effect of hearing this Krishna Katha? Anyone who wants to perform pure devotional service should hear to Krishna Katha. Why? And how should it be done? Nityam, regularly, and abhikshnam, constantly hearing about Krishna Katha. So when someone does nityam, regularly and constantly hearing about Krishna Katha, one will come to be performing pure devotional service. This is the effect of hearing. And who all are eligible to hear this Krishna Katha? We will see this. Someone may be very impious but curious about their spiritual life. They can also be eligible for hearing Krishna Katha. Who is an example? Dundukari. He is a very sinful person. He is actually the ghost. He has acquired the ghost body. But because he was sitting in the assembly of the Vaishnavas and he was hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, thinking that what will be my future? Will I ever get a normal material body? And just by hearing that, he was hearing so rapidly, with so rapid attention. After the 7 days of the Krishna Katha, the Vaikuntha aeroplane comes and Dundukari actually goes to the spiritual world. And Krishna also says, anyone who is pious, distressed, inquisitive, they are also qualified. They will come to Krishna anyways. So they are also qualified to hear Krishna Katha. Or anyone who is receptive and who has respect for the message and for the messenger, they are also eligible. And who else is eligible? Who knows the goal? The goal is to perform pure devotional service and have this loving service to Guru and Krishna. They are also eligible. And the least of the category, who wants fame, wealth, reputation. We see in Vrindavan also, I would not say who or who not. There are genuine Bhagavatam reciters, and there are also Bhagavatam reciters who are in gain of something. They want some wealth, they want reputation. So they are also qualified. Why? Because they are not envious, but they want something. But slowly, slowly, by repeating this Krishna Katha, they will be purified. And who is not eligible for hearing Krishna Katha is primarily one who is envious. That's what we hear in Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, one who is envious, don't preach this Krishna Katha to them. But they are also benefited because we distribute prasadam, we give them books. So indirectly we are also helping them. And in Bhagavatam 10:1-16, who benefits again by hearing to this Krishna Katha? 3 people primarily are benefiting. One is the speaker, one is the inquirer, and one who is hearing, who is assembling the audience. How? See, just like the Ganges which is flowing and it's purifying the 3 worlds. So Ganges doesn't have any discrimination. Oh, this is the upper planetary system, this is the middle planetary system, this is the lower planetary system. It's just flowing because it's the mercy. It has touched the lotus feet of the Lord, the toes of the Vishnu. So similarly, anyone who hears Krishna Katha, they will be benefited. And who cannot give up Krishna Katha? Even the most self-realized, Atma Ramas, even they want to hear, the Paramahamsas, they want to hear Krishna Katha. Now one may ask a question, okay, this is all nice, but how should we hear Krishna Katha? Is there any particular qualification or any quality that we should be aspiring for? Yes, Srila Prabhupada explains in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila 1.107, simply hearing submissively. If we can hear to Krishna Katha submissively, that will help us to realize this path. And again in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.44, Prabhupada says, one who hears with rapt attention, they will also be benefited. Here interestingly Prabhupada says, how rapt attention is possible and it's not possible. Not possible, let's see. Why is rapt attention is not possible? Because one who is not pure in mind cannot have rapt attention. And then Prabhupada says, why is someone not pure in the mind? Because they are not pure in the action. And what kind of actions they are not pure? Because they are not pure in eating, mating, sleeping and defending. And then Prabhupada turns the topic. But somehow or the other, if someone can hear with a little bit rapt attention from the speaker, if somehow or the other they will hear from a devotee, they will develop rapt attention. So it is interesting how Prabhupada is saying one has to have these qualifications to develop rapt attention. Even if someone doesn't have that rapt attention, but still they hear from devotees, that will give them rapt attention. It's the 2 sides of the coin. So, and in the Bhagavad Gita 6.35 also, Prabhupada says, it is very easy to hear because this is a natural proclivity of the soul. We hear so many things. But if we can dovetail that hearing to Krishna and Krishna Katha, that will bring us the highest benefit. So what happens when someone hears? So we have seen that who is eligible and what is the qualification we should be aspiring. Then what happens when someone hears? When someone hears, they automatically wakes up. This Prabhupada gives an example. If someone is sleeping, all the organs are sleeping, but ear is the only one which is active. And someone wakes you up, how do you wake up? By someone's calling, right? So that is what hearing does to us. And that hearing will automatically wake us from the conditioned life to the higher spiritual life. And when we hear, we lose taste for the material desires and we become liberated from contamination. And also it stops the repetition of birth and death because automatically we are being attracted to Krishna. Krishna says in 4.9 Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tatvata. Tvaktva deham punarjanma naitimam iti so Arjuna. You just know my birth and my activities, then you automatically will come to me, because there is an attraction. It's like a magnet pulling the iron. You no need to do anything, you just need to hear. And what is the destination offered to that person? They go back to Goloka Vrindavan, they go back to the spiritual world. They won't come back to this material world. And this is a promise given by the Lord. So, why is that devotees are able to enjoy the spiritual life? Because their hearts have been cleansed. Krishna has personally taken charge and he is cleansing. So they are enjoying spiritual bliss. But the people who are not hearing about Krishna in the association of the devotees, even though they hear what is happening, they are thinking it's just a brainwashing. Or it's just like they're thinking that it's just a mind controlling activities. They're not able to relish. Devotees are always blissful because they're hearing to the Krishna. And we can also see an example. Say suppose your mind is disturbed or you're anxious. You come and sit in a kirtan or you come and sit in a class. Automatically such a transformation of consciousness happens. And this is what in the Bhagavatam 4:30-25, there is the glories of this effect of the Krishna Katha. Yatrayante katamrishchas trishnaya prashamo yataha nirvairam yatra bhutesho no dvego yatra kaschana. When pure topics of the transcendental world are discussed, members of the audience forget all kinds of hankerings, at least for the time being. No longer envious of one another, neither they go through fear or anxiety. And this is the effect that we see. And we will see what Srila Prabhupada says about it. Material hankerings immediately stop. This Sankirtan movement started by the Society of Krishna Consciousness is meant for creating... This Sankirtan movement started by the Society for Krishna Consciousness is meant for creating Vaikuntha, the transcendental world, that is without anxiety even in the material world. So Prabhupada is actually creating a Vaikuntha, the spiritual world which has no anxiety in the material world. How? By this Sankirtan movement. The method is propagation of the Shravanam Kirtanam process throughout the world. In the material world, everyone is envious of his fellow man. Animalistic envy exists in human society as long as there is no performance of Sankirtan Yajna, the chanting of the holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So just by coming into this society, this is a society where we are given a chance to hear Krishna Katha. And it is, for the time being, he's removing our anxieties, our fears, misconceptions, and also liberating us from this cycle of birth and death. And the highest goal, it is helping us to develop this pure love for Krishna. So, I was also thinking of this example. In this world, we identify with what we do, right? Say, for example, you are in the military. So what do? You fight for the country. If you are a doctor, you are actually curing the patients. You are a teacher, you are teaching your students. But then, how do you want to become a devotee? You become devotee by knowing about Krishna, by hearing about Krishna. Then we are called devotees. We are not called devotees just by the external appearances, just by wearing the Vaishnava dress or wearing tilak, but actually hearing about Krishna. Because that actually changes our consciousness to become this devotee. That gives us the impetus to become the devotees. Even we see in the Bhagavatam, when Lord Brahma was describing the Vaikuntha planetary systems, Vaikuntha planets, he describes how the other living entities, this bees, the bumblebees, they actually, the other birds in the Vaikuntha, they are actually stopping to coo, to sing their song, and they're actually stopping to hear the songs of the bumblebees, because they're glorifying the Lord. So this hearing helped them to become devotees of the Vaikuntha. And the same thing is expressed by Arjuna here, that I want to hear from you. This is the qualification he is establishing, that how he is a devotee. And Prabhupada also says why this hearing is so important, because matter is very static. Mundane literature is in the mode of darkness, whereas this literature is in the mode of transcendence. So transcendental literature is above the darkness, and it lights become more luminous with progressive reading and realization of the transcendental subject matter. So when one reads or when one hears, actually realizations come. We go deeper in the realizations. Whereas when we read fiction stories, we don't have such realizations. So it is so important that we appreciate what we have, the hearing about Krishna Katha, and also it is also our duty, we go out and give this hearing process to the people. How Prabhupada is expressing in his mood that he wanted to create this Vaikuntha. So we should engage many people to come and accept this process of hearing. So if you have any questions or comments or corrections, I'll be very happy. Please forgive me for my shortcomings. Any questions or corrections? Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Like Bhagavad Gita is the song of God.
Yes.
And Srimad Bhagavatam is also. So Lord Chaitanya in his Antya-Leela, he was hearing Vidyapati and Chandidas from Krishna Karnamrita. I forget. So in love of, so, but these all verses are in Sanskrit, the Gita, the Bhagavatam. So don't mind, but I was hearing in one Bhagavatam class, one sannyasi said that he heard some lyrics of the material Karmi music lyrics. So then he immediately caught his mind, and he was started murmuring that or whatever he was trying singing that. So then he thought, oh God, what am I doing? I'm a devotee, so I should sing with Krishna. But so how we can, like in mood of complete absorption, sing about Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, or like Lord Chaitanya, not just mechanically, like become, I'm able to express. I don't know if you are able to catch me.
So you're basically asking, how do we have absorption in Krishna Katha? How do we develop?
Yeah, that same absorption, like we should always feel like singing, like lyrics, say in the material world. They sing, they sing, they dance.
Yes.
So here also it should not come like a burden.
Yes.
It should come like I should want to sing about God, I should want to dance, I should want to like that.
So you are saying that how can we instigate this natural propensity to be absorbed always in Krishna Katha? Am I right?
Yeah.
So in the Bhagavatam, when we read the pastimes, the early pastimes of Krishna, Mother Yashoda, she was churning the butter for Krishna in the morning, and she is actually singing all the different activities Krishna is performing in the form of the song. She has composed in the form of the poetry, and that's what Prabhupada writes in the purport there. So Prabhupada says that we should also be going in the footsteps, following in the footsteps of Mother Yashoda. What does it mean, following the footsteps of Mother Yashoda? So we have been given an exclusive descriptions of the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam through Srila Prabhupada's words. So if we can remember, like learn shlokas or recite pastimes or, learn Srila Prabhupada's purports, automatically that will be instigated in our natural absorption in Krishna Katha. But it's a practice. It's a practice. Mother Yashoda is not just doing for one day, but she is doing eternally every day. Every day she is singing about Krishna. So the same thing, if you want to come, this is a constant practice that we have to be doing. That's what is my understanding, my humble understanding. And also from listening from the devotees who have, genuinely they have the taste. I don't have the taste, but when we associate with the devotees who have the taste, they will give us this quality. Just like iron rod put into the fire. It's not fire, but just being in the fire, it has acquired the quality of becoming fire. So we have to be in the association of the devotees. And then automatically it will come to us. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, okay, good enough.
Thank you, Prabhu. Anything else? Otherwise we end. Yes. Here.
So that we all are here because of envy for Krishna. How are we developing that? Is it because of what is the question?
So the question is, I said in the class that whoever is envious, they cannot hear Krishna Katha. But in the first place, we are in this material world because we are envious of Krishna. But we are humbled, right? We have been humbled. And also we have a lot of mercy of the Guru Parampara. So devotees actually gave us this mercy. So we may not have come just directly in this lifetime. We might have added so much of Bhakti Sukruti and we might have come here. Right? So even though the people out there are very envious, but ISKCON, with all the activities of ISKCON, whether it's book distribution, prasadam distribution, allowing people to come and take darshan of the deities, or any other activity here, we are actually helping people to have this Bhakti Sukruti in their life. So at this point they may be envious, but slowly, they take one step and Krishna will take 100 steps. So we might have also, I'm still envious. I know, because I'm not so absorbed in Krishna, right? But it's a practice to give up this envy. And for that we have to hear more. Did I answer your question? So in the first place we are here because of the mercy of the Vaishnavas. Because Prabhupada also writes in the purport, although Krishna says that, but his devotees are more merciful than Krishna. Because Krishna also wants to glorify the devotees, how merciful, what extent they can go to give this. And even we see in the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj, when Prahlad was praying to Lord Narasimhadev, he says that I am very concerned about these envious people who are in this material world. What about them? For me, I am okay, I am absorbed in Krishna Katha, but I am concerned for them. So this is the mood of the devotee. So with that mood only, we have been blessed by Srila Prabhupada and the Guru Parampara and the current Gurus and the Vaishnavas. We have been blessed that we got an opportunity, although we are envious, we are able to come and appreciate Krishna Katha. Yeah, so, yeah. Anything else? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji, this is a very nice question and very nice answer. We are envious, that's why we sleep in class.
Yes. I can speak for myself, I cannot comment for anyone, I'm sorry. Yeah.
This question I was discussed in class, like why do you sleep in japa? I said because we are envious. If you are lover, if we love Krishna, very simple example is like if we fall in love with some girl or boy, If they hear that even sound little bit, they will know where it is.
Yeah.
This is.
Yeah.
And second thing, Mataji, I wanted to ask this very nicely, this 119 translation.
Yes.
Those who have entered into a transcendental relationship with Krishna relish at every step the description of the pastimes of the Lord. What is this transcendental relationship?
So,
Still talk about it.
yeah, this is in the purport. I would like to explain one. So, in my study of the Srimad Bhagavatam now, we are studying Venu Gita. This is in the 10th canto, 21st chapter. This is the song of the flute. When Krishna plays the flute, when he's entering into the forest and he's playing the flute, the gopis, they're thinking, how unfortunate we are. That, we are not able to go and see. We are not able to, but they know what happens when Krishna enters into the forest. They know, and then they're thinking that, how fortunate is this flute? How fortunate are the deer? How fortunate are the peacocks? They are able to come and relish Krishna's beauty. They're able to see. And my teacher was making a point which was very striking. Here, they're saying they're unfortunate and they're really feeling that separation. And we are also the living entities very closely related to Krishna. But we have forgotten and we are not missing him. So someone who is in transcendental relationship, where the relationship has been awakened, they actually miss means they miss him. But because we haven't entered that relationship, although we are missing him, but we are not feeling that we are missing him. You got the point? Gopis are missing him and they are feeling that they are missing him. We are also missing him, but we are not feeling that.
We are missing Krishna.
Yes. We are missing Krishna, right? Why we are in this material world? We are missing Krishna, but that's why this is the sadhana bhakti, where this is a practice to come to that point that we are actually understanding and appreciating that we are missing Krishna. So at that point really strikes. So the relationship where it is very, it is of a higher quality, superior quality. This is just my humble understanding. I can be wrong. Please correct me. So where in this higher quality of this relationship, where there someone who misses, they actually know that they are missing. But we are in here, we are not in that relationship because although we are missing, we are not feeling that we are missing him. Sorry, I complicated. I'm sorry. Yes, we are not crying for Krishna.
Not feeling separation.
Yes.
Pain of separation is not there.
Yes. And that's what Arjuna is also saying here. I'm never satiated. But I hear one Bhagavatam class for 1 hour and then I'm already like tired. So how is this quality? There's a difference. But here Arjuna is not saying I'm never satiated.
That's what I was thinking. It's like theory. Arjuna is saying I'm satiated. I say I'm just sitting and satiated. I'm sleeping. I'm just satiated.
Yes, Prabhu, you were saying a comment.
As you said that about Gopi, right? Gopi were so fond of Krishna that even they thought that this deer and the peacock are very fortunate to hear Krishna's flute, just Krishna's flute.
Yeah.
So the most deepest devotees were the gopis, right? Of Lord Krishna, the most intimate devotees were Gopis. So as you said about the transcendental relationship, what does this mean? So I want to say about the Ramakrishna Paramahansa, if anybody knows. Ramakrishna Paramahansa. I was reading about him. So he was such a he was worshipper of Shakti, but he also used to worship Krishna. So he was also so fond of Krishna that he was though a male by physical body, he was a male, but he used to dress up like a gopi. He used to wear a sari and completely dress like a gopi to feel that intimate connection with Krishna.
But for us, fortunately, we no need to dress up like gopis or gopas. That can be revealed. That can be revealed by the mercy of the parampara, and that will come, I mean, what I heard, that will come by the maturity of our bhakti. So we no need to do anything artificial. We just need to hear. That's all.
He was so mad about Krishna that he used to do like
Yeah. But we are lucky, we no need to dress up like that.
So our Goswami, follower of Rupa Goswami, they says that Hey Radhe, Brajadevi Ke, Hey Nanda Sonakota, but they never wearing gopi dresses.
Yeah, that is such a beautiful thing. Yes, the Goswamis are crying in the Vrindavan looking for them, but they never dressed up. So it's a natural thing that will come to us. Krishna willing. Hare Krishna.